I started doing preliminary year at Prahran College as an alternative to HSC. I was always intending to do fashion design with a view to applying to RMIT. But during that year, I realised that I would have to have a folio to actually get into the fashion design at RMIT. So I decided not to apply for that. Diploma of Art and Design at Prahran, majoring in photography. And I got in. There were a lot of very interesting characters around, and there was a lot of interesting things happening with the social movement, quite exploratory. It was a different style of teaching to what I'd ever had before. The lecturers were sort of almost like part of the group. They were just sort of leaders of the group. I didn't realise at that time, of course, that they weren't trained teachers, which might have been why it was so sort of informal. But yet it was very serious, and people took the classes very seriously. We would have guest lecturers coming in. Rennie Ellis came and did some lectures, and I was very much attracted to his photography, which were any inhibitions, total freedom. And I just loved it. I loved the spontaneity. I was very attracted to people that were on the outer. It sort of gave me a boost to continue in that direction. And I was attracted to people that didn't look ordinary. The punk thing came about. I saw this girl sitting on the train and asked if I could take some photographs of her. And she said, yeah, sure. So I went there and I photographed her and her housemates. They were people that looked quite shocking to a lot of people, but they were the nicest, softest people. They allowed me into their world and I had respect for them. The guys in the household, Simon, he worked in a burlesque theatre in King's Cross, and he invited me to come to the show and photograph them backstage, and that's what I did. And I just thought, wow. Athol and Paul and Brian, who were the main sort of judges of our work, they were quite surprised when I presented these very strong images. I also had done them in colour. Effects of colour and the vibrancy of colour. Black and white was very much the main focus. Now, when I had the exhibition opening at Brummels of the punk series, Athol and Paul turned up. That was like a real acknowledgement. I would like to be able to extend it, actually, because I took a lot of other photos that weren't actually punk, but sort of along those lines. I took photographs of Lindsay Kemp, theatre company, when he was in Melbourne doing the Flowers production. And that was a very kind of surreal type of a production, very theatrical. And I guess the punk movement is very theatrical too. I was always very fashion conscious. Loved the whole sort of imagery of the magazine. Did think it was very worthwhile. I mean, in some ways I was quite naive because I thought I would get a job at the end of it. And it really wasn't just like that at all. It really taught me to look, to seek, just observe and to learn and practice what I've been trained to do. I'm really thankful for the experiences that we had.